Hi, my name's Meg Moore, and my job title is a reactor operator. So my role at Hinkley Point C is the role of a reactor operator. So I'm a trainee reactor operator at the moment, which means that I am training to look after one of the nuclear reactors when we're operational. So my job will be to control and supervise operations on one nuclear reactor. So it's a main control room role. And at the moment, I'm a trainee, but as I said, we've got obviously it's not operational yet, so we've got a lot of work to get us to that point. So as well as the actual trainee role, and that involves classroom training and simulator training, I've also got lots of projects on the go. So we're looking at the documents and the processes and the procedures that we'll need to get us to the point of being ready to operate Hinkley Point C. So I'm involved in sort of writing documents and reviewing documents and setting standards and expectations in preparation for being operational. In terms of where I came from, so I was previously at Hinkley Point B power station just next door. So I worked there for 7 years as an operations engineer, which is a similar role. We called it a reactor desk engineer. So control room based, and also a plant engineer. So out on the plant as well, isolating plant, doing testing, making it safe for maintenance and engineering to do work on the plant. And I came to Hinkley Point B from the EDF Energy graduate scheme. So I did the science and engineering graduate scheme in 2013. I started, and I actually came from an environmental background. So I sort of did evolutionary biology at university. So not your typical background, but it was environmental was one of the routes on the graduate scheme. And then you sort of, once you get onto the graduate scheme, you all do similar training. So you all do a sort of foundation in engineering principles and sort of the really key information we need to know, which was really new to me from my background, but it sort of brought us all up to the same level. And from there, I was able to apply for the operations engineer role. So I was lucky really to go on the graduate scheme and get an experience of lots of different roles at lots of different power stations. And I kind of knew that operations was where I wanted to be. I just really liked the big picture. You get the big picture with sort of generalists rather than specialists. And I just really liked understanding the interactions between the plant and all the different departments. And yeah, I want to carry on being an operator. So I think for what's most challenging, I find it hard to visualize the plant sometimes. So we're writing procedures, we're learning to operate the power station, and we can't just go and walk down plant and walk down systems. And having come from Hinkley Point B, where I could do that, and I could just go out, touch the plant, see how it all works. You can sort of see it and visualize it. It's really hard not to have that. And I think it also learning about systems, but not being able to get hands-on is challenging. And I think linked with that, it just sometimes it feels like it's quite daunting because we've got a long journey ahead of us before we're operational. But I know that we've got so many people working and our team's growing all the time. So we'll get there and we'll get to the point of being hands-on and being involved in commissioning, which will be really exciting and really enjoyable. But I think for now, there's that kind of the real desire just to have the plant and be able to sort of be part of that. The most rewarding part of the job, I think, is that the work we're doing now, so we're reviewing documentation, we're writing down what we think the best standards and expectations are, we're sort of documenting how we think processes will work. And the best part is I've worked in generation and we had frustrations, and we've got this opportunity now to take the best from the nuclear generation fleet and sort of combine that with the best things from external practices. So we've got a real diverse team at Hinkley Point C and within my team as well, within the main control room team. So it's really great because we've got experience from all different sectors, other types of power stations and outside of the power station industry. So we've been able to think, actually, this is our chance to make the processes as good as they can be. We don't have to copy exactly what generation did. And that's really exciting. And I know as I've been reviewing documents, I think the idea of that we're sort of setting the legacy for the next 60 plus years of generation and making it easier for operators to operate safely and making processes as good as they can be, that's a really kind of rewarding thing to think we're contributing towards that legacy. So I didn't do the ADF NEDA program, nuclear engineering degree apprenticeship program, but I've since met people who have gone through that program, and that seems like a great thing to be able to get both the degree and the experience along the way. So I think that sounds like a really great program. Like I said, I just did a degree and sort of came into EDF after that on the graduate scheme. So I think obviously the graduate scheme is really great too. And I also think, so as I said, I have an evolutionary biology background. It's not really a typical control room operator background, but then I think the whole point is we need a diverse team. So don't think that you have to be an engineer or that you have to be a physicist to be an operator, because you don't. And I suppose it's worth fighting for. So I was just thinking back 9 years ago when I was coming off finishing the graduate scheme and applying for permanent roles at EDF. They weren't going to interview me because they were going to interview everyone except me because of my background, because I had an environmental background. And I remember my boss at the time, he just said, just interview her, just interview her like you're doing everyone else. And they did, and they interviewed me and I got the job and I was an operator. I'm an operator 9 years later. So I think it's worth giving it a go. And I think as long as you're willing to learn, and you've got to have some technical understanding, of course, but I think there's real value in people being from different backgrounds within the team. So I would say, don't be put off by thinking that you need a particular background, because you don't.